Welcome back to the Crypto's Key conversation. We're going to quickly jump into kind of what's going on with the 2012 Ripple memos that are supposed to be unsealed. Eleanor Terrett tweeted, new Ripple's General Counsel Stuart Elderati statement to Fox Business. Once released, these documents will show that in 2012, Ripple received a legal analysis that XRP was not an investment contract. The fact that it took the SEC 8 years to suggest they disagreed with that. Come down here, she continues saying, analysis. While XRP traded in a massive global market, it's baffling. We look forward to the public having access to these documents as we continue to vigorously defend the case. So coming out here, the digital asset investor had kind of put up a little tweet thread that's quite interesting. So he says, hey, Eleanor Terrett, Charles Gasparino, John Deaton, FYI, while Ripple was getting a legal analysis that XRP was not an investment contract, this is the legal advice the Ethereum founders were getting. So he says, big day in the SEC versus Ripple suit over the 2012 memos. The irony is that we have video proof that ETH founders did receive legal advice that ETH was a security and the SEC does nothing. What a farce. So we're going to listen to this again. I've showed you this in the past.
But the genius was, he came up with this and presented it to the world. When I saw this, I had this aha moment. He was in Toronto. Well, I was in Toronto within, I think it was 72 hours. And I asked him, I said, can you really build this? This 19-year-old little kid. And he's like, yeah, I think I can, I just don't have the money for it. And so this was a really, I don't know, this was like a game-changing conversation, I think, in blockchain, and none of us realized it at the time. And so I'm going to say at the outset, I take no credit for any of this. We were doing this because we were trying to promote a project, and I'll explain how that took off and took this life of its own afterwards. But he said to me, he said, the problem is our lawyers are telling us this is an illegal securities offering, which in fact it was. Because they were saying this is a security. So that became the whole issue.
That's, I mean, quite honestly, that's not a good look, especially once, you know, the official report comes out and the unsealed memos actually come out. That's definitely not a good look. So DAI, John Deaton says DAI is like a sniper. Coming down here, we're going to continue the conversation. This is from C and F. He says, any legal memo is going to outline both sides of the issue in its analysis. It might conclude XRP is not a security, but it be sloppy to not mention that the SEC is a shoddy, crappy, shakedown factory capable of abusing its power and exceeding this purview. Jeremy Hogan says, spot on. No legal opinion memo ever has had. You are 100% in the clear. That's not the way the lawyers think or write to clients, and it also invites malpractice lawsuits. I can guarantee that the memo will warn that there's some danger, especially when dealing with the SEC. Irish Tiger says 100%. Whatever is written, it matters not a hoot. What matters is if the SEC gave fair notice, and we know that they did not, as we would have seen their defense already. Furthermore, the judge has seen in camera the SEC's legal analysis of XRP in 2018 and Ripple's win each scenario. He continues, he says, so scenario one, XRP is a security. Why didn't the SEC give Ripple fair notice of this in 2018? Scenario two, XRP is not a security, then the lawsuit is BS. Scenario three, it is unclear if XRP is a security or not, then the lawsuit is BS. XRP, Ripple wins every scenario. XRP Crypto Wolf says, SEC doesn't truly believe XRP is a security. If they did, then they would have filed an injunction to stop all XRP trading when the SEC first sued Ripple, but they didn't. I mean, quite honestly,
but the genius was...
Quite honestly, we know that there's a lot of shady stuff going on, and things are just weird how they're rolling out everything. So I'm just glad that Eleanor Terrett is kind of updating everybody on what's going on. I'm excited to see what kind of comes out from this. I believe in what Stuart Elderati, Ripple General Counsel, says when he says, once released, these documents will show that 2012 Ripple received a legal analysis that XRP was not an investment contract. And they're excited for us to have access to it. I'm excited to see what happens. Continuing on here, this is a great thread that came up. Johnny Deaton is responding to digital asset investors' tweet here. Says, hey, Eleanor Terrett, Charles Gasparino, while Ripple was getting legal analysis, XRP was not an investment contract. This legal advice the Ethereum founders were getting. So Johnny Dean says, I've never criticized Ether founders for lobbying for a safe harbor. They should. I believe Hester Pierce safe harbors should have been implemented, and Ether, Ripple, etc. provided benchmarks to meet with in 3 to 5 years or register. I do blame some for their finger pointing. However, so absolutely, it was, especially when it comes to our community, the XRP community. It's not about we want Ethereum to go down, or we want Solana to go down. It's like, it's not about none of that. And I totally agree. You definitely, there's nothing wrong with lobbying, but what's wrong is how, the digital asset investor always says, you got Joe Lubin out there gloating and kind of, bragging, and then just the shady and spiteful behavior that's been happening, and then trying to suppress or redact all the information, especially now that we're, in the middle of this Ripple versus SEC lawsuit. That's the stuff that's a problem. But when it comes to, lobbying and for safe harbor and all that stuff, no. And quite honestly, I personally don't want, Ethereum to go down or to go under an investigation. None of that. I don't want, any harm to be caused to any of the founders, any other project. I want there to be a level playing field, and I want the crypto space to have the regulatory clarity it needs to flourish. That's it. Coming over here. So this was a tweet there that I thought was quite interesting. In digital, Johnny Deaton's talking about, we'll go over here. He's responding to Charles Gasparino tweet where it says, interesting takeaway from Gary Gensler's talk with Liz Klayman on the difference between Ethereum's Ether and what Ripple did with XRP. He wouldn't comment. The SEC generally doesn't comment on investigations, which means maybe they are weighing an Ether case. So we talked about this in our previous videos. Like, it was, Chairman Gensler hinting at potentially, going after Ethereum as well. Quite honestly, I just don't see that happening, especially based on all the footage and information that we have, the timeline we have. They're not going to want to let all those so-called whales that are trying to disguise their purchases surface, and they don't want all that information that they've been redacting to surface, because quite honestly, it just may be, catastrophic if that happens. So Johnny Deaton pretty much says, think about it for a minute. What's the absolute best play for the Ether Foundation? Vitalik Buterin, Joseph Lubin, etc. Cut a deal. It would give Ether certainty moving forward. Gensler is receiving all of this pressure related to the free pass. I wouldn't be surprised to hear about a settlement. So pretty much giving the SEC a win while still giving Ether and all parties involved kind of like their second free pass in a sense. He says, what does a quick settlement also do? It prevents a lengthy investigation into the disguised whales who participated in the ICO, etc. It also gives Gensler a public win. How quick would the Ether founders pay the 18 million that was claimed to have been raised? I mean, 18 million. This is pennies on pennies on pennies for them. So that wouldn't be a thing. I mean, quite honestly, even if they were to have some sort of settlement or quick settlement, the SEC, I mean, they'd be silly not to go for more money. This is absolutely absurd. 18 million. But the whole point is like, yeah, do you think that they're gonna go, if they were to go after Ether, do you think they're actually gonna take it the length? Do you think they're gonna take it as long as they've taken, this Ripple versus SEC stuff, having all this, in-depth and lengthy investigation? No, they're absolutely not gonna do that. These so-called disguised wealth, money rules the world, and it's just a reality. So if they for sure don't want to be known about, it probably won't be heard about, and then all other parties involved. Yasan Mobarak down here says, a quick settlement would raise a lot of questions on the treatment Ripple is getting versus the quick settlement ETH will have. The unfair treatment allegations won't go away. Johnny Dean says, Gary Gensler and the commissioners clearly don't care about what 65 to 100,000 XRP holders think. The big money behind and pushing Ethereum are big donors, and they may want a quick minor settlement that gives them certainty. I'm not predicting anything, only saying I won't be surprised. I mean, that's the truth. Quite honestly, money rules the world. If you got money, you got a lot of influence. Let's just leave it at that. And I wanted to end on this. I thought this was quite interesting. Tag XRP is, man, I love this account right here. So it says, today, this is from the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, says, today we charge Infinity Q Capital Management founder and former chief investment officer James Valessaris with overvaluing assets by more than $1 billion while pocketing tens of millions of dollars in fees. So there's a quote here that says, the case affirms our commitment to using all our tools to root out misconduct in the 18 trillion private fund arena, a growing market attracting more and more institutional investors, including public pension funds, university endowments, and charitable foundations. Tag XRP goes, Hinman next. He pocketed 15 million from Ethereum free pass speech. I thought that was hilarious. So, I mean, there's some humor behind there, but like, I truly don't want, as long as, they come out and, pretty much, I guess, try to do the right thing, right, and level the playing field. Give Ripple, XRP the regulatory clarity it needs. Give the space the regulatory clarity it needs. Then let's just move on with our lives. It is what it is at this point. But now, if they're going to continue this charade that they're putting, we're going to keep applying the pressure with Empower Oversight, Johnny Deaton in the class action lawsuit, Tag XRP, digital asset investor, and all parties involved. We're going to continue to bring the pressure, alongside what's going on with Ripple versus the SEC at the same time. That just is what it is. Digital asset investor always says it. They forced our hand, and that's literally where we're at. With all that being said, stay strong out there. Be safe.